Now, unpaid carers are calling for swift government action to overhaul the allowance that they can claim, because some carers have been caught out by having to repay thousands of pounds in overpayments.
The charity Carers UK says the complicated system is causing anxiety and financial hardship, as Megan Owen reports.
The life of a carer, day in, day out, with little respite, is far from simple, but made even more complex for the thousands caught out by overpayments. Just under 1 million receive a carer's allowance at £81.90 a week. But for the 175,000 of those carers who also have a job, it's a cliff-edge benefit. Quite simply, if they earn more than £151 a week after tax and expenses, even by just a few pennies, they lose all of that allowance. A threshold which, in recent years, has led many carers to court, with some ordered to pay back thousands they've racked up in debt and some facing criminal records. Back in April, Vivian Groom was prosecuted for taking a minimum wage job without telling the Department for Work and Pensions, the DWP, despite being told by a social worker that she didn't have to. They seized £16,000 left to her in inheritance by her mother.
I followed that lady's rules and,
This is inheritance money that her mother left her, so Viv is being penalised now for looking after her mum.
Karina provides round-the-clock care for her daughter Amber, who has complex needs. Karina unknowingly earned just above the limit because of the occasional hour of overtime at her part-time supermarket job. She wasn't told for 3.5 years when the DWP ordered her to pay back £11,000.
The system has to be a lot simpler. The forms have to be easier to fill in so that you don't make these mistakes. You have to be... They need to stop the cliff edge so that if you earn over 50p too much, that they take that away, not take all of it, because they're pushing people into poverty.
With a new government comes new promises.
I have asked officials to provide urgent information about what has happened and what went wrong so we can put it right and make sure this never ever happens again. I know that carers are really pushed to breaking point. We need to resolve this problem. I've demanded action from the department and we'll be coming forward with more information soon.
For the thousands of carers who waited years to be informed of their overpayments, that action can't come soon enough. Megan Owen, BBC News.
Well, let's talk some more about that. We're joined now by Emily Holzhausen from Carers UK. Hi, morning. And also with us, Enka Plaku, who cares for her 12-year-old son. Enka, good morning to you. Thank you for being with us. Morning to you both. And talk to me a little bit, if you will, Enka, about what impact this has had on you.
Well, back in 2021, I resigned. We got a pay raise way back in 2018-19, I think. And I never thought I passed the threshold because I only worked 2 days. I was working full time. Then when Matteo was diagnosed, when he was little, cut down to 3, then 2 days. The workplace was great, but I never thought that I passed the threshold. I resigned, and then I found out that I owed nearly 6,800. And I'm paying back £25 every month. The impact of it, I tried to go back as a supply teacher, but yet again, we get way more than the threshold. So even as a supply teacher, it's hard to go back even a day a week because I passed that threshold by £6 a day. So I left that as well, and I'm now a full-time carer. I'm staying home until I find another opportunity to go back to work. And I'm not willing to change my profession. I've studied hard, I've got a degree, and yeah, that's what I love doing, teaching. And I feel like I'm punished because we are over the threshold, even with a day work.
And Enka, what have they told you about that overpayment? What are you being asked to do? Do you have to pay that back?
I have to pay it back. It's £25 every month. It's taken now directly from Universal Credit because since I resigned, I now get Universal Credits, so they take it from there.
And we can see, Enka, you're there with your son, Matteo. How has all of this impacted him?
I don't think he realizes much. He's happy to have his mum home, which in a way it's worked for better, but it's affected me. I've worked hard for my degree and I feel like there isn't a way to go back to work. Because as I said, I tried to go back as supply teacher and I found out I passed a threshold by £6 a day. So even if I can work, some weeks are pretty quiet. He has a good week at school, so I can go back to work 1 or 2 days. The logistics, the paperwork behind it is so much that I can't deal with. Because on those weeks you have to report it and then they say, okay, this week you are not entitled to carers allowance. The next week that you don't work, you are entitled to carers allowance. So it's so much paperwork on top of everything else.
And I imagine, Enka, as a supply teacher, you are pretty much in demand.
Yeah, there is plenty of work. At the moment, summer term, I've had so many offers, so I can go back anytime. And the days I choose and to work around Matteo's care, but I can't, because what's the point to pass the threshold by £6? Like, what about me having sometimes sleepless nights? The petrol, the cost of getting up in the morning, sometimes having to rush back to his school. So it will just make it easier if it was increased to the value of 21 hours work per week at least.
Enka, stay with us. I just want to bring in Emily at this point from Carers UK. Emily, good to have you here as well. And you've spoken to, what, nearly 150 carers facing similar challenges in a similar situation to Enka. This is more common than we think, isn't it?
It is. I mean, in the last year, 34,000 people had an overpayment with carers allowance. Like Enka, we have people going over the limit by just a few pounds. And just to explain, if you go over, let's say, by £1.50, you have to pay back 100% of your benefit, which is £81.90 a week. So this cliff edge is really punishing carers. And like Enka, carers have got incredibly busy lives caring for their older disabled relatives. They're already doing at least 35 hours care. Many do much more. And all of this complex rules on top of this is too much to manage.
So let's just say that again. You don't pay back the over-earn, you pay back the entirety of the benefit.
That's right. That's right. It's a very harsh penalty. And that's why carers end up, even though carers allowance is the lowest benefit of its kind, they end up building up quite a large overpayment. And this is one of the areas that we think needs urgent action. But the other area that Enka was talking about and that you raised was that the DWP has this information. They know who has gone over the limits. So we need them to tell carers as soon as possible so they can take action.
So what needs to change? What would you like, and how would this be fixed?
So, first of all, tell them quickly, try improve processes, make it easier for carers to communicate with the department, and then some of these structural things. We need the cliff edge changed so carers are not hit by that penalty, the earnings limit raised so that teachers, nurses, care assistants, they can all work. And finally, we need a review of the benefit. It's the lowest benefit kind, and it needs improvement.
And just describe to us the situations that many carers across this country find themselves in, because many of them don't make a big noise about it, do they? We don't hear, a lot about what life might be like. What is the general situation like? How tough can life be if this is what your life is dominated by?
It's extremely tough. I mean, the vast majority of carers, they don't have a choice about caring. It affects their health and well-being. They are, in effect, saving the state £162 billion a year. That's the same as the NHS. And yet services like the DWP that are supposed to be there to help them be a safety net are not. They are leaving people in a lot of stress, and that's really unacceptable.
And Enka, you're listening along to that. How hopeful are you that the system can change, will change, to allow you to be able to go back to work?
Well, I'm hoping so. I worked hard for my degree. I come from another country, so I got my degree in a second language, which to me was an achievement. I thought I was doing everything right, positive role model for my autist by going to work, juggling care with Matteo, and then 2 years down the line to find out big bill, because it took them 2 years to let me know. was a bit of a shock. So hopefully they're now listening to us and then making the changes. I want to go back to work. As I said, once I resigned in summer 2021. That autumn term was pretty difficult mentally. Then I tried to go back as supply in January 2022. That didn't work out as well, so I resigned again from supply teaching in May 2022, and since I haven't looked for a job because I'm not willing to profession.
Enka, that's what I was just going to ask you. What has the emotional toll been like for you?
I'm pretty strong. At the beginning, I didn't admit it, but recently I'm seeing my GP for mental health because it's been nearly 3 years now at home. And I've worked since 18, so it's a pretty hard one to stay home. You're punished enough as being a carer. Like everything juggles around Matteo, everything rotates around him. You can't go out unless you're okay, you can't do anything. And then the days that you think, okay, today I can go to work, it's a good day, he's fine, he's safe, he's happy in school. The threshold doesn't allow you.
Enka, so good to talk to you and to meet you this morning. Thank you for talking to us. And Matteo, also lovely to see you there. Nice to see you as well. Thank you, Enka and Matteo. And Emily, also from Carers UK. Really good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thanks.